I don't know that he would ever stand up and say I'm a hero or want to be. What he did deserves that, because he raised his arm and said, yes, I will go. And he felt that his duty, but I mean, there's thousands of veterans that have raised their hand and said, I will go.
He had lots of friends, and he was a very social person. He just talked to everybody, young and old.
Started out as a small child. I mean, small kids start out small, but we kind of referred to him as petite. And eventually he grew out of that. But he was just always small for his size, small for his age. If you look back through any of the pictures, he was the little one in the bunch. So, but as through high school, he kind of matured and grew out of that. He was sensitive, would be the word that probably I'd use. He picked out individuals that kind of needed help or whatever, or things, or dogs. He knew every neighborhood dog, every neighborhood cat. Paid attention to things like that when most people would just walk on by.
We were in Canada, and Matthew would have been 7, and we were all throwing bread out to the ducks, and Matthew found a duck that had a foot frozen off, and he went over and knelt down and fed it out of his hand, because he just had compassion for the duck who had a frozen foot.
When he was in 6th grade, he was on the football team, and he had to be to school early, and I never once had to wake him for practice. He got up on his own because he loved to be part of a team. It makes sense that he would join the Army, because he loved being a part of a team. And he was, for the most part, very happy. I think he liked relating to his teachers. He liked most of his teachers.
Yeah, the band was his biggest interest. He was fairly involved in church and stuff, did a lot there. But as far as interest around, he had a friend that had a horse barn. He'd go out and help there through high school, just not to ride. All he wanted to do was just run a pitchfork and haul hay.
He loved going out to the stables and working out there, because it was time where he could think. He needed that alone time to think and clear his head, and he was a deep thinker.
I'm going to say probably sometime 3rd through 5th grade, he probably knew that he wanted to be something military. He was comparing one service against the other to see which one he really wanted to go into and which one would give him what he thought he wanted. By the time he got to high school, he knew he wanted to be military. It was a combat striker brigade that he was attached to. They're designed to get people in and out of harm's way without necessarily being in harm. And so he was assigned to one of those strikers in a combat position.
When they were in Missoula, it was a more peaceful time up there, and he enjoyed learning about the culture and the children and trying their food, and I think he just enjoyed it. And then when they moved down to Baghdad, it was definitely more intense.
When he was back on leave, he kind of stood up and gave a testimonial or whatever you call it at church, and he let people know that the soldiers were making a difference. When before they got there, the people were so oppressed that they couldn't even go out and shop groceries. They couldn't leave their compounds, which their houses are in compounds, they couldn't even leave the compound without being at risk.
He could see that they made a difference, and I think that was quite a feeling of accomplishment.
I just knew that something was wrong. I'd been over helping the neighbor, and I'd come back and just getting sit down to eat some dinner. And when the doorbell rang and I looked outside, and his wife was standing there with her mother, just knew that it wasn't good. When I went to the door, downstairs to the door, and you could see the officers, and it was pretty self-evident.
I wasn't home when they came to the door. I was in South Dakota visiting my parents, and I got a call from Mel, and he said, "You need to get home." If I had turned on our block and saw our pastor's vehicle, I was pretty sure that had meant death in our family, and if I see a government vehicle, then I would know. And that's exactly what had happened. And then Mel met me at the garage and told me that is what had happened. And it was very overwhelming to think that those two officers stood most of the 3 hours waiting for me to come home. They wouldn't even sit. And that's got to be one of the worst jobs, is to have to tell people that a loved one's been killed.
Just ask God that you would speak to us through Matt's life and through Matt's departure. Just speak to us in the middle of the night, a month from now. Use him, Father, in just powerful, powerful ways. Thank you for him. Thank you for the privilege of having he to influence our lives in a manifold ways. Etch those things on our hearts. Etch them on our mind. Keep them in the forefront of our thinking. Father, may we pick up those points that he valued, especially the salvation that he valued. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Military is a brotherhood, and you really see it in all the details and how they honor, and they feel it's one of their brothers, one of their comrades. And it was amazing. The strength and the dignity and the honor given to Matthew. It was amazing. I was a teacher's aide with Paula Winstead at that time, and Paula said the kids were silent for however long that was, and I know what 5-year-olds are like, that's amazing. They were taught well about the meaning of what was going on. service member has done something that has impacted history. My grandchildren will probably never read of it in a book, but it's made a difference, you know. And that's really amazing to think that so much goes on. You know, we just live life unaware, or I live life unaware to the sacrifices that have been made for over 200 years in this country.
Pick out the veterans, find them, thank them. We wouldn't be here, at least with the securities and comforts we have today, without them. Without security, there's nothing in a country. And, you know, education, there is no freedom in that without the security that the veterans have provided. So everything else is secondary to that. Find something good, something wholesome, and become part of something bigger than themselves. And I feel that's kind of what Matthew did. He found a passion and became something bigger than himself.